Hello, good afternoon, everybody. On this Friday morning, I just want to welcome you to our segment today. My name is Cynthia Lane. I am the founder of Black Autism Coalition, who has for mission to promote a cultural acceptance of understanding and also empowerment in the lives of individual and their family living with autism. So today is a great pleasure for us to be having the subject today, which is autism doesn't stop me. As a mother of two children living with autism, we couldn't be more proud of the work that we are doing in our community and also bringing it and helping others. So I'm not going to take a lot of time because the speaker and the guest that we have today, we want to hear from him. Because one thing that I wanted, yes, we talk about other advocates, yes, we talk about other caregivers that come and tell us, about themselves, but we want the best, the person that's leaving the situation to do so. So I'm not going to even get into this yet, but I want to introduce you to a great friend of ours, someone that works along with us. Her name is Fabienne. She's going to come up and introduce herself because she's going to be part of this conversation. Good evening. Good afternoon, Fabienne.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be here for such a great topic, great issue that we have in our community. And I'm happy that I'm always able to help backstage. So I'm usually the one backstage helping Cynthia with the little stuff that she needs to do with Black Autism Coalition. We also colleagues in the finance industry. So we spend a lot of time together. So we see what each other are doing, and whatever the support is needed, we bring it. So which is why I'm here today.
All right, awesome. I'm happy to have you, Fabian, here. And I know yourself, you are a mother that doesn't have children with special needs, but you always want to learn more about the children that lives either with autism or any special need that they have, so you can teach your daughter the right way to address them, how your daughter can support them. And I appreciate the work that you are doing and continue to do along us. So we're not going to take a long time, but we have a special guest today. And I know everybody's been sharing this flyer around for me. And I want to say I appreciate that. But I want to introduce you to Marcus Boyd. Okay, Marcus, when I met him, just hearing his story, what really stuck with me was the fact, like, just hearing him talking, I could see my son. I can relate to him. I can relate to the struggles, and his story is so wonderful. And I want to get to his story, but I want to tell you guys a little bit about him. He's an autism activist, 4 times award. So he's out there doing the work, guys, while he has autism. And then he's been featured in the Forbes magazine. He's a musical artist. He's a musical producer. You name it. There's so much going on, guys. If I started talking, I'll take so much away from him. But let me introduce you to our special guest today, which is Marcus Boyd. Good afternoon, Marcus, and we are so glad to have you today.
Good morning. How y'all, how you incredible queens doing? And thank y'all for allowing me to be on your amazing platform.
We are glad to have you. And one thing that we want to do here, because we want to make sure, we saw that we lost Marcus, but he's going to be right back with us. And one thing we want to make sure is we want to hear from you, because a lot of the time, I'm a mother. I always advocate for my children. And then, you and I, we had that conversation before, but I've never been able to hear, and until I learned, hey, you got to sit back and take down that mother role, that that advocate role, and hear from your son. And this is what we want to talk about. But before we get to that, we want to talk a little bit about your story, because a lot of people don't know who Marcus Boyd is, and you're doing tremendous work in the community. And your name's supposed to be everywhere, but I'm in Massachusetts, right? I just found out about you, and I was excited to hear. But we want the people everywhere to know who you are. Can you tell a little bit about your story?
Well, I'm Marcus Leonardo Boyd. I'm 39. I was born and I have autism. I got diagnosed April 12th, 1993, Clifton Springs Mental Health Center by Dr. King. I was diagnosed eventually from 11 different doctors in 2 different states. Brooklyn, New York, and Atlanta, Georgia. I was nonverbal since I was like 13 and a half. I started speaking at a 2-year-old's level. My actions was at a 2-year-old's level. And I didn't start speaking like this until I was almost 18. So I dealt with using the bathroom by myself until I was about 20, 21, 39. I didn't get out of therapy until I was like 22, 23. I didn't stop taking medicine until I was like 22, 23. You know, many doctors said that I was going to be brain dead. The left side of my brain doesn't function correctly like other individuals' brains does. And, you know, they told my grandma many times, let's lock him up, let's institutionalize him, let's put him, you know, on medication, in which I were. I was institutionalized in probably about 16, 17 different hospitals. I was in 17 foster homes, 16 group homes, 4 inpatient. I dealt with electrical shock therapy. I was on Ritalin, Paxil, Depakote, lithium, Seroquel, Zoloft, 500 to 1,000 milligrams, just to name a few. I had IEPs all my life. I was in special education all my life. I have a certificate of completion. Also, I have a GED. I have a bachelor's of communication from Asheville University Online that my sisters helped me get. I have 13 music awards. I've been nominated for a Grammy 7 times. I'm the first African American to have 4 Autism Activist awards, which is about to be 5 of them in October. It's just a lot going on. I have my own clothing line, shoe line. About to have my second coloring book. I have a short film. I'm working on my autobiography book. We're doing a TV show next year. I mean, it's a lot of stuff just going on. But the main focus is fighting for the voiceless and building new laws and new rights and new programs for the poverty and low-income families that deal with autism, giving them a voice, letting them have a choice of what new programs they want to see in the future, trying to make this future a better generation, better for the next generation. You know, that's it.
Wow, Marcus, amazing, amazing. We hear about from the struggle and we're hearing about, the challenges and also the success. Because a lot of the times when, especially in the Black community, when we see somebody like, yourself, we don't see a lot of people like yourself. And then mothers like myself, we think like, okay, are our kids gonna make it? Are they gonna be the type of kid that every time we have to watch out for them, we got to take care of them? How do we go about all these different things? That's what's in our mind. And that's what I said. Your story stays with me because every time I think about you, I see my son. I see the work that they can do the same way. They might not be able to do it, but at least like I have hope and stuff. So what I wanted to ask you, you said you did not speak until you were the age of 13 going 14, and it was at a second grade level when you were going about 18 years old. I always wanted to know, because I have a nonverbal child, right? I always wanted to know what was in their mind that certain time, because I'm sure you were frustrated at times when, you were not able to communicate. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I wish it was at a second grade level, but it was at a 2-year-old's level. So the level that a 2-year-old would speak, that's why I was speaking at a 13 and a half, 14, probably until I was almost 18. And then, a sentence here or there came out, a sentence here or there came out. Months later, we get this, where we at now. It just didn't happen overnight. And to answer your question, I was going through a lot of different stuff. So me being nonverbal, I was going through bullying, being abused at home, my family, and beat up. I was going through a lot of different levels of stuff at that time. So, yeah, in my head, I was screaming. I was screaming for help. I wanted people to hear me, but nobody could hear me. I wanted people to just stop. Just stop picking on me, stop bullying me, stop talking about me, stop making fun of me, stop abusing me. That's what I wanted, but nobody could hear that because I was nonverbal.
Wow, such difficult things to go through. I'm sure Fabian, you have some question you wanted to go ahead out there and ask Marcus, because you know me, I have so many, but I'm gonna give the mic to Fabian. Go ahead, Fabian.
It's not even a question. When I kept hearing the titles, I'm like, he's gonna leave some for me. I kept hearing titles after titles. Um, I'm so like when he was talking, all I could visualize was Ryan and Luke. Like I was like I could see what they would be able to do if we allow them to embrace everything that they're able to do and allow them to go. And if we get the support not only from the parents but the people that don't have um kids with disabilities and stuff. So I was like, wow, I was just amazed because I used to think this was only on TV because the show about the good doctor, the autistic kid who became the surgeon. So I used to think, okay, this only happens on TV. We don't get kids like this, because you are nonverbal, so they probably wrote you off. So for you to be doing all of that, I'm telling you, you are an inspiration to so many people, and not just people that have kids that have disability, but people like me that have kids, that don't have disability. I'm like, if you with all the obstacle that's been given to you, and you're able to get inspired and do all of this thing, nothing's gonna stop my child either.
Well, I will say this, and I'm very grateful and humble and honored that you would say that. And what I love about y'all's situation is you have a parent with a child that has disabilities. You have a parent with a child that don't. So you blending the two together, and y'all coming under one roof, and y'all building a super team, a Justice League, to show parents that or diagnosis. It matters about the gift, the willingness, and the patience and the love of a child. And to clarify, Miss Fabian, I don't forgive me if I got your name wrong, but to clarify her, um, my parents gave up on me a long time ago. My mom went in family court and said, if you take Marcus, the other 21 kids won't be like him. He's an infection. He's a disease. We don't want him to rub off on the other 21 kids because my mom had 22 of us. So my grandmother, who haven't had hip surgery, who had 24 kids in a one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, New York, in Brownsville, said, I'd take him. Went to family court and said, I'd take him. There's nothing wrong that God can't fix. So she took me, and she took the other kids that my mom dropped off. We was all in a one bedroom, one bathroom apartment. But she made sure we ate. She fed us. We may not ate the stuff we want. And welfare was probably our grocery store, but we ate and we had clothes on our back.
Wow, just amazing. Because, you know, as a mother myself, you get these critics like, hey, you always with your children. You always trying to do this. You always trying to do that. You should go out there, chase your dream. But they don't understand, Marcus, that desire. Hey, I want to help out my kids. I want my kids to be able to live in a better world. You know, I want to advocate for them. Some people don't understand the situation. And that's why I like working with Fabian brings so much joy because I feel like I have somebody that understands who I am. And, you know, and just like you say, we want to build a different community. Why not all of us come together? Why should we segregate ourselves? Oh, this is the parents with children with disability with one side. This is the parents without children with disability, the other side. That side thinks they're better than the others. Why can't we come together and support each other? So that's why, you know, we want to kind of like shake things up a little bit. We want to be like, hey, that party, instead of just having your child be by themselves, let's have all of the children come together and celebrate that child with disability. Because a lot of the time, these kids, those invites go out, right? They go out, but nobody want to show up because they're like, this is not the popular kid. That kid makes a lot of noise. They're hearing things and they're hitting their ears and all those stuff. We want to get out of that mentality. And then, you know, we are so glad to work together. The other question that I wanted to, Fabian said, "Hey, I'm not done with my question. Go ahead, Fabian. Do your thing,
Because I
Mama."
know you have a lot of question, but me, my question is more on my end as a person that doesn't have. I mean, I had a family member that had a child with autism, and they ended up having to put her in an institution because she became not only harmful to herself but really harmful to the parents. And whether my cousin was, she was going like it was affecting her mentally now at one point because she could not control her, and she didn't want to just keep giving her like drugs that would just kind of like make her, not like a child. And then she didn't have the tools to do it, so she was able to get her, kids institutionalized. So that's the closest I've been to this until, I really we connected with Cynthia and, started interacting with the kids. Now, for Marcus, as somebody who has autism, what is it that you're looking for from a parent like me, or maybe somebody that doesn't have kids with disability, that doesn't understand um, what's going on with you? Because a lot of times we tend to just dismiss the other parent, be like, oh, they're so insensitive. But a lot of times because they don't know. Now that I know better, when I'm in a plane and I hear a child kind of like making noise, acting up, automatically I have like, I don't assume that the parent is not doing a good job. I just assume, okay, maybe he has an issue. That's why he's making that noise. And it doesn't bother me as much as it would as before, because now I know better. So what do you think should be done so that way parents like us can be more educated and more open and more supportive to, the kids that have autism, but also the parents?
Well, in the early 90s, when low income, poverty type kids used to act up in school or act up at home and stuff of that nature, you had the Big Brother Big Sister program, you had the mentoring program. I had a behavior aid. They now call them peer specialists. You understand what I'm saying? So I think if we do an autism parent and parent mentoring program, which means you will get this disability parent, you will get the non-disability parent, and the disability parent will learn from the non-disability parent, and the non-disability parent will learn ways and new tactics and stuff from the disability parent. So when you see a child that may be having these signs, you know what to help with the mom or dad. Even if you're at the grocery store, you would know key components, key words that would be able to be helpful to that parent that may be dealing with that type of issue at the store, at the parking lot, in the house, at your neighbor's house. See, we have to be able to be mindful and be accountable for each other. And the only way that you do that, you partner, just like in a science project, you partner. So you will have an autism parent to parent mentoring program.
Oh, I like that. You're giving me some
That
ideas.
is a great idea.
Yes, and then just like you said, that mentorship, because you have one parent that's been through it. Just like we spoke the other time when you were saying, um, being a parent of a child with autism is like you starting from preschool, you're going to kindergarten, you're going to middle school, and then you're going to high school, and you're going to college, and then you're gonna get yourself to graduate. I remember when you said that to me, Marcus. And then when you say sometimes there are some classes you're gonna fail, right? So these parents, while they're going through this journey, they know it the best. That's how they can, let that other parent that don't know. Because sometimes I feel like there are certain people, it's just they're not aware of certain things. Because I remember I brought my son, we were doing wall watching, right? And then, we exposing him to different things. And then, just to see what he likes and what he doesn't like. And we ended up going on top of the boat. And he got a little bit, sensory overload. He sat down and then he started screaming. And everybody was looking until this little boy came over and started screaming with him. He thought that was funny because both of them are screaming, and the other kids, because kids don't know, the other kids around are screaming as well. You know what I mean? Everybody's having a good time. And here you are, you have all those grown up, like, that's like, okay, what's wrong with this kid? What's wrong with this kid? But hey, they were having fun. That little boy did not want to stay away from my son. He just wanted to be around. The mom's like, is it okay? Is it okay? I'm like, it's fine. Let the child be. So imagine if we have a better world where people are understanding what's going on with one parent to the other parent. So instead of just staring at that child and making them feel embarrassed, because even though they're nonverbal, they understand your body language. When you stare at them, you have that look. They understand that you're saying, like, what's wrong with you? Do you understand? So imagine that difference being made. So I'm glad you brought that up. Oh my God, this is so exciting already. This conversation is going. So my question to you, and feel free, guys, if you are online, if you have any comments, you want to bring in your comments, and feel free, shoot them out. We got comments, questions. We'll make sure that we ask Marcus for you these questions. My other question that I wanted to ask you is, as far as like parents, and what are the what are what do you think they should do, like parents that have children with autism, right? Especially in different cultures. I'm from Haiti, and I know you have a little bit of Haitian and Jamaican in you, and Puerto Rican, right? So we have parents where the child, they don't even want to get the child diagnosed because they're saying that, oh, they're gonna label my son, and with my son being, having autism and having that label, that's gonna stop him or her from going anywhere in life, right? You yourself told me, right? Even though I have all this success, there are some times I get sensory overload. I gotta get myself to that room. And that's being yourself. And I tell people this all the time. When you see your child doing something, it's not having them stop doing it, because this is part of them. This is how they calm themselves down. It's not a bad behavior at all. What advice do you have for these parents as far as like not getting the child diagnosed?
I would simply, the first question I want to ask them is, when was you labeled? What year and month was you labeled? If that parent says they wasn't labeled, then that's the problem. That's the first problem. You're labeling your own child. You're putting a brake on your own child. Because if you're not getting them, if you feel there's something maybe different or whatever, and you want to pray it out, you want to beat it out, you want to talk it out, you want to therapy it out, instead of you doing the steps and giving them the proper testing that they need, there's nothing wrong with it. We can't live for the Joneses. We can't live for Mike and them. We got to live for us. We can't do what Sarah and Lala and them doing in their house. We got to do what's for our house, because they're not paying our bills. They're not paying our mortgages. So at the end of the day, we can't worry about what somebody else do, because at the end of the day, watch this. You see me move? You see this? You see, that's how many people that's in your business. That's how many people is going to help you right there. All the people that's in your business, all the people that's telling you what to do and not do, that's how many people are going to help you. You see it? You see the people? You see them? Exactly. So you should go get your child tested. And there's nothing wrong with your child being diagnosed. Let's get yourself out of it. Because you may have bipolar, you may have schizophrenia, you may be psychomatic, you may have depression, you may have anger issues, but nobody's labeling you. God gave you that child for a reason, not just for a season. So you as a parent are the first guardians, are the first protectors. So you can't be just like everybody else on the street. You have to be different.
Oh my God, just amazing. You said God gave you that child, because this is a powerful statement. A lot of the times, and I'm gonna let you ask your questions, Fabian. I just wanted to add this comment. A lot of the times we have parents, they think that child is a burden. Why? They're always asking why? Why me, God? Why me? Why me? Why me? And And sometimes if you look around, even myself, I had to get myself together many times to not say that why me, because there are other children, if you look around, that their situation is a little bit more complex than what you have, right? Oh yes, my son do wonder sometimes. Oh yes, he does scream sometimes, but there are someone that wish their son or daughter can make a sound, for example, or say one word. But sometimes we don't look at these little things. We always want to have that big picture. And I'm glad that you said that word. God gave you that child for a reason. And God doesn't give us any burden that we cannot carry. Go ahead, Fabian.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make a comment because he mentioned God, but also I noticed because the funny thing I've had a couple of people reach out to me about their kids being diagnosed, and I had reached out to you, Cynthia, to refer them to you. And one thing I do notice, the denial at the beginning is just so high, and also they putting it like on God is gonna fix. It's like something that can be fixed. And I don't know why lately I've been watching The Good Doctor a lot, and I'm learning even more about how autism is just something the person's gonna have, regardless of how high functioning that child is. They're gonna have it for the rest of their life. It's not something that can be cured. But a lot of the parents, what they it's like, oh, I'm gonna pray, God's got this, and some of them are not even willing to take the help because they're saying if they accept the help that they get either from the government or from other people, that means they have accepted the diagnosis, and that means the child actually has it. So what can you say to a parent that's thinking that way, or that's been in that denial
Stop,
phase for too
stop
long?
self-crippling. They got to stop self-crippling themselves. That's what they need to stop doing. Number one, stop self-crippling themselves. And number two, God did fix it. He gave you that child. That's how he fixed it. He wouldn't give you something that he didn't want you to have. He wouldn't give you something that he knew was not going to become greatness. Stop trying to get to the end of the book and read the whole book. You got to read it. You got to go through the process. This is not microwavable. And why keep praying to God to fix something that he already gave you a blessing with? You asking him to fix a blessing. That's what you asking him to do. Who asked God to fix a blessing? And the thing is, I was never supposed to talk. I'm supposed to be brain dead. I'm not supposed to have a college education. Library of Congress in 2023 is not supposed to induct me in Black History books. I was supposed to be the first person with autism in Forbes magazine. None of this is supposed to happen. My parents ago, they didn't raise me. But that lady with a crippled hip with 24 kids said, I'll take him. He's my grandson. He's not a mistake. So how dare you have a child and you consider that child a mistake because you don't want to get him diagnosed correctly. You don't want to get him tested. You still talking about you don't want to get assistance or help because you feel like that child may have it. You better get that. You better get all the help you can because the government, if they take that away, then what you will have? You better get every therapist, every doctor. I don't care if it's free lunch. You better get it. There's nothing wrong with help. There's something wrong with self-destruction.
Can I just say, preach it, preacher? Marcus, and oh my God, it's just so amazing to have you and hearing this from you because one thing that I want to add while we are talking about the subject, I remember not too long ago, someone put me on the side and then they were like, you have to pray. God can take away that autism away from your child. And I'm like, I don't want God to take away anything because ever since my son's been in my life, it's been a blessing. I have become a better mother. I've been able to see the world differently. I've been consistent because as someone living with autism yourself, you know what consistency means. And then with my sons, I've been very consistent. I've been just like a different person. I step out of my box many times because I've seen the confidence my son Ryan has. Sometimes he doesn't care what you think. He just say what he's supposed to say. If he needs to go to this place, he'll tell you I need to go to this place. If you tell him like he cannot become who he wants to become, he'll say, yes, I'm gonna become this, I'm gonna become that, without no hesitation. While where there's others, they are kind of like shy away from him. But just hearing you speak like that, and I remember I looked at this person very funny, and I'm like, okay, take away what? Take away what? Like you say, this is a blessing. Why would I want God to take away a blessing? Now we are speaking here today. I'm speaking here in this platform because of the fact my two children have autism, so others can hear about it. And then the same way for yourself, if you had looked at it as a curse, would you be an autism activist? No, you wouldn't. Right? You using your platform as well to say, hey, listen, let's help others. Let's come out and do the work. I am so excited to have you. I don't know, Fabienne, I know it was a comment that you made. Let me not take away the questions, but go ahead, Fabienne, because I know a lot of people that's also listening right now or later will be seeing this conversation that doesn't have children with disability, might have a question and then have a chance to ask that question, and that question can come from you. Go ahead, Fabienne.
No, I mean, he's answering the question even before I asked them. But like I said, what he had said about the whole parenting to parent to parent mentor, I think that would be something great to have, to start that and to have that spread out, because I really think we need that as parents so we can be supportive. Because I know how I feel when like my child does something that I feel like is embarrassing. So I can't even imagine how a parent feels when they see their child do something and they know they can't really say don't do that like I would do to my daughter or whatever, where you can't really control that. You kind of let them go through that process, and then people just looking at you like they spoil that child, they're not doing anything. So it's like that mindset has to change. And I'm telling you, being around you, Cynthia, has like helped me so much to not think that way. Like when I see a child acting up, my first thought is not that, oh, that parent is not doing their job anymore. It's more like, okay, is that a child that's that probably has something? What can I do to help the situation? Like that's the mindset I have now, instead of just like being judgmental, because I know how it affects the parents. Because especially in Haiti, in our culture, I know, now that I think back, I've known many kids that probably has autism now that I know better, that in Haiti they label them as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you label as crazy, and then you kind of become an outcast kind of thing. Rarely would you see one where they embrace. We had one in our neighborhood. I feel like I had autism, but he was so smart. He was so smart. He had such good memory, everything. He was so strong, all of these things. But you knew things. Some things were not wired the same way as what we call normal. Because what makes you think I'm normal? You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're normal and I'm not normal. But um a lot of that's what we need to say, especially in the Haitian community, because we tend to be like so ashamed of it, where the child tend to suffer. Because a lot of times when they have these kids, they tend to keep them at home, lock in a room, and these kids are not getting better that way. So being able to see people like Marcus, being able to see people like Cynthia talk about it, is saying, okay, maybe I can go out. Maybe they're not gonna judge me so much. Maybe I can be an inspiration for somebody else, just like you guys are for them.
You know what? With Haitian and Jamaican in my background and in my DNA, I understand wholeheartedly. But shoot, let's just keep it a bean. I was labeled crazy in 1994. I mean, I had straight jackets on in 16 mental different hospitals. You understand what I'm saying? Electrical shock therapy. Liquid, they put liquid medicine in my buttocks and my thighs and everything else. They thought that I was just going to be institutionalized. Well, I'm sorry, devil. You was wrong. I'm still here, still labeled as crazy, still have autism, and still making a difference in this world. Because it's not about a title. It's not about a diagnosis. It's not about none of that. Because charity starts at home. It's what a child sees, and it's built that from home. That is what they're going to believe.
I do have a question. So you're saying, okay, so you were put in several homes, with straight jacket on. So what was the point where things changed for you? Like, was it because your grandmother never gave up on you and kept showing you the love that needs to happen, or was it maybe a support that you got from whatever the help that the government was providing? What kind of tipped thing over for you?
Well, unfortunately, because my grandma was old and older, she had 24 kids in her own place, taking care of majority of my mom's kids and some of my aunt's kids and stuff and so on. You know what I'm saying? So foster care came in my life very early, at a very early age. You know what I'm saying? 4 or 5 years old, very early age. So what tipped that turning point was my grandmother, my sisters, my social worker, Dorothy Carr, my behavior aid, Bob Ortner, my speech therapist, Anna Gibbs, my therapist, Berta Looper, my pre-speech therapist, Anna Gibbs' daughter, Kimberly. I mean, it was a village of people that literally, like, stayed in one house or stayed in somebody else's house. And I used to come over there. Like they had families of their own. But they all be in one house, eating, laughing, joking, talking about what we're going to do for Marcus Day. Like, they didn't have to go home. It was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? These people, I found out many years later that they actually rent out that house. Like, my social worker, therapist, speech therapist, behavior aid, they was at that house more than they was at their family's house. You know what I'm saying? I was around their families. I didn't even know I was not related to these people. My behavior aid was white. He was from Canada. I didn't even know I was not related to him. I thought I was related to him. That's how much I seen him.
Wow,
That is
just
great.
amazing.
That is great.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, just like you said, it takes a village. And that's why we talk about we shouldn't be segregating ourselves. We're supposed to come together. So imagine a neighborhood just like, people were just coming to help. And a lot of times what we see, and we have you know, single parents that have a child with autism or another different disability. And you see sometimes they kind of stay away because instead of helping, that judgment comes in, that shaming comes in. It's like, okay, let me stay in my bubble because if I stay in my bubble, nobody's going to bother my child, nobody's going to bother me. But it's time as a community we come together. We come together because just as autism, right? Now we see the rates are going higher and higher in boys, right? So you might not yourself have a child with autism, but you might have a grandchild with autism. So are yourself gonna be ready and your family when that things happen, or are you gonna wait till it happened for it to be done? So that's why we're encouraging either you have a child with disability or you don't have a child with disability. Let's come together and support one another because one of the things too I remember they say a lot of the times like, "Oh yeah, have your child come to our soccer game. Let's have that inclusion going. Let's have how many times you come to other other children with disability event. This is the time to do so. Let me take my child and invite. There's a disability event going on where they're doing soccer. That's a challenger program. Bring your child to that challenger program. It's not all the time that child needs to be like, okay, I'm not myself, but these children, and then we say, yeah, it's inclusion. No, no, no. Things needs to be a little bit different. That's how I feel. So I'm so excited again that we're having this conversation. My other question, let's hear a little bit about your inspiration. What inspired you, Marcus?
Number one, the millions of families and individuals with autism. They don't get their voices heard. They don't get a chance to tell their story. That they fighting for the same fight. That they sacrificing. That they struggling to get proper medication, food, services, therapy, schooling. That they getting bullied, mistreated. That's inspiration for me. Number one. Of course, number two is my family. Of course, number three know, it's always going to be God, and you know what I'm saying. And for me, number four is the most important. Is for me to leave a legacy and an impact in this world, because autism has to have a voice. Autism has to be seen differently. So that's my mission, regardless of whatever I do, whether it's the music fest, whether it's my clothing line, shoe line, whether it's a coloring book, whether it's a TV series, whether it's an animated series, period. It's always going to be autism driven and focused, because we have to be able to say that this is not just a diagnosis, this is a lifestyle, this is a way of life.
Awesome. We have Yahara Lopez, a great friend of mine. She said, "This is powerful. We don't get blessed to see it." So we thank her for joining us as well. And, with all these things that you are doing. And I love it because the fact that there's action figure that you're working on, and then it's autism, so someone that has autism can relate, you know what I mean? This is like, every time you send these things to me, I'm just like, yes, yes, Marcus, keep sending them. Like, I love it because of the fact that a lot of these children, they are looking for connection. How can I be connected with somebody that I know has sensory overload like myself, you know what I mean, that has different way of thinking like myself? That's what we are looking for, and I'm so glad you have all these things. Fabienne, I know we are going to be on time to go to our final remarks, so I'm going to pass it to Fabienne. That I think she got something that she wanted to add real quick. Go ahead, Fabienne.
It's not. I just had a question. How's the support for you right now, Marcus? Like, you getting a lot of support, from family, or do you feel like the way it used to be for you before you did all these amazing things? Is it the same thing for you now?
Unfortunately, a lot of the original support has passed away. Bob Orton died when I was 14. Dorothy Carr died when I was 17. Stuff of that nature. People that I looked at as my family, my parents, and stuff of that nature. They not unable to see autism activists now. But thank God that He blessed me around with some new people 5-6 years now that's been governing me, watching me, making sure those long contracts that lawyers are reading them and going over it with me through Zoom or phone calls, word by word, breaking it down before I signed an agreement. You know what I'm saying? Because we still in this world, and this world don't care that I have autism. They'll still snake me and gank me and screw me. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't care because I have a disability. So, I just praise God that for my PR, my booking agent, my management, my team, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that's around me right now, and making sure that the message, the mission is that, I'm going to be a voice for the voiceless. I'm going to help autism individuals, not just in the United States, but worldwide. I have done it in Asia, Africa, South Africa, Pakistan, Philippines, London, Asia, Australia. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? And Scotland, and we're still going, because the mission is to be able to change and make it better for the next generation, so they won't have to go through what we went through as people with autism.
Amazing, amazing. And we really thank you for your time, Marcus. I know you are a very busy man, but one thing is, when it has to do with autism, like you said, you take the time to make it happen. And we really appreciate Black Autism Coalition. And I know you're not gonna be being with us this is the last time. You're gonna be coming here a lot,
No,
because
he just got a new family. Like, he
as
was
long as we
looking for more people.
as long as we can fit you into that schedule, I know the answer would be yes. But before you go, we want to wrap up with this. What advice you want to give either a parent or a caregiver or a sibling or someone living with autism themselves? What do you want to leave them with, Marcus?
I send the biggest air hug to you. I squeeze you tightly. I cherish and I honor and I adore you and your personality and your spirit. I stand with you during the difficult times. I believe in you when you are having struggled to believe in yourself in the situation. The situation is not going to be easy. There are going to be trials and tribulations. There are going to be mountains you're going to climb. But thank God that we got a compass. Thank God we got a GPS instructor. Thank God we got a leader. Thank God that we got somebody that can be able to say, okay, let me grab your hand and pick you up. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here. So as autism activist Marcus Boyd, I stand with you. I believe in you, I fight for you, and I love you.
Just amazing. And myself and Fabian, we took our hug because we were just like,
And
hey.
she didn't say it was false, so I took the words for me too.
Again, thank you so much, Marcus, for being with us. And like I said, it's not the last time. Our platform is open for you whenever it is. And hopefully, we continue to work together and make changes into our communities because more people want to be exposed to what the work you are doing. Again, my name is Cynthia Lane. If you just join us, and I am the founder of Black Autism Coalition. Please don't forget to go on Facebook and like our page, Black Autism Coalition, and then also subscribe to our channel on YouTube as well, as this conversation is gonna be end. And then guys, reach out to us at our website, which is www.black coalition black autism I'm sorry black autism coalition.org. And then you can ask questions or anything. We're gonna have more things coming up, so just watch out and be aware. And again, thank you, Marcus, and thank you, Fabienne, for being here with us as well. And then we'll see you next time, guys.
Feel honored to be in your presence, Marcus.
All right, bye, and stay put, guys. Bye bye.